Welcome everybody to the September meeting of TriLUG. Before we get started, everybody please get all electronic devices on silent so that we're not interrupted by non-speaker activities. I would also like to mention that Barry Petticord, Barry's still in the room? Okay. Our chairman is also serving as our new member ambassador. If you have questions about membership, want to join, want to know what's involved, what you can do as a member, please talk to him. He was the one sitting at the table when you first came in with the signs up in front of him. And he's always happy to talk about membership things. After tonight's meeting, we regularly go to Bada Wings, which is, as you can see, just down and around the corner, for what we call TriChug, just getting together, talking geek speak, and having beers and whatnot. So please come on down, associate with your fellow geeks. Sponsorship and donations. TriLUG is a volunteer organization, and we run off of donations and sponsorships. So there's a donation bucket down here. There's always out there as well for the pizza. It's here every time. Please donate. It helps keep us going, helps get the pizza and sodas and stuff, and arrange for other various things that allow us to do things like the Bash workshop and whatnot. If you don't have cash and want to use a credit card, we can take those. And just talk to one of the steering committee members who can now raise their hands. Yours truly, and then Barry, as I said before. Also, please ask your employer to sponsor. If you guys use Linux around your shop, and they would benefit from mention in a room full of senior Linux users and administrators, talk to them about sponsoring a meeting. We give them a few minutes at the beginning of the meeting to talk about product or recruitment or what have you, and then gets the name out there in the community. A few thank yous also of Barry going in. A few thank yous. Alan Porter wrestled to the ground a nasty mail bug that was plaguing the lists. So thank you very much, Alan, for your efforts. Scott Hall, I don't know if he's here, or Lenore Ram for arranging use of Splat Space for this past weekend's Bash workshop and the prior weekend's Lightning Talk rehearsal, or Jack, lightning talk, yeah, rehearsal. So thank you very much for that. Again, we appreciate helping us. And then Cristobal, thank you for arranging to have a TriLUG phone for people to call for calling. You want to fill in a little bit of the details because I'm a little fuzzy on them.
So we do have an anti-harassment policy, and we try to follow the best practices on that. And one of those things is a point of contact that is not an email. So we have a phone for that.
Which Cristobal was kind enough
or
to
for other things, if you just want to call a steering member, but you don't want to call a random steering member, you want to call the official phone about making a donation, I suppose you could do that. But there is a TriLUG phone.
So thank you, Cristobal, for arranging that.
That was the phone number on the signs on the doors, if you saw them. If you need to call, either look at the signs or ask me, because I also need a number.
Well, we have a lovely chalkboard.
We have a lovely chalkboard.
We do have a lovely chalkboard.
Should I write up on the
Put it
chalkboard?
on
It's a non-digital
there. Speaking of the Bash workshop last weekend, the peak activity, we had 7 people sitting around hacking on Bash and learning it, going through the previous month's Bash class slides and learning how to tweak the dot files and do all kinds of stuff in Bash. We ended up going, I think, about 2 hours over. Sorry, everyone. And And but it was a really good time. We had a lot of fun and learned a lot. So if anybody is interested in doing it again or whatever, bring it up on the list. Maybe we can arrange another one.
And on that phone, if you want to make my life a pain and cost me lots of money, by all means spam that with many SMS messages, but otherwise, please refrain from doing that.
Let's go with the please refrain part of that. Community announcements. SparkCon is coming up. SparkCon is coming up. Did it start today? Yes, it did. Okay, according to this, it started today. This weekend in downtown, there's all kinds of art and making and circus performers and a good time for all. So encouraged to come down. I believe it is sparkcon.com to find out all the information. All Things Open is coming up late in October. So we do not currently have plans to have an official presence there other than potentially having a membership sign. But there's good stuff there. And then the October TriLUG meeting will be on Catello, which is the successor to Spacewalk. It was something to do with space. So,
still the upstream.
What's that?
Product. You have it right in that it's still the upstream.
Right. Yeah, it is. Yes. So that's what's coming up. Does anybody else have information on upcoming events that they would like to bring up? No. All right. All right. Time for Have a Job, Need a Job. Anybody hiring currently who would like to? Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're hiring here at NC State right now. We have an open position for someone in the College of Engineering. This person would work with our Office of Information Technology and other different campus IT groups in the design and support of Linux configuration management environments, system design and administration for Linux-based server environments like web, database, file, licensing, and also working on just a lot of other different Red Hat technologies like RPM packaging, desktop, things like that. So if you're interested, I printed out some copies here. You can just go to jobs.ncsu.edu. Maybe I can leave them
Absolutely.
down in the front. But I would encourage anyone who's interested to please apply. Thank you.
Thank you. What was your name?
Gary Gatling. You'd be working with me, so.
All right. Anyone else have jobs? Yes.
Yeah, Craig Cook. I work for VitalSource Technologies. We're looking for 2 Ruby developers based in downtown Raleigh. So let me know if you're interested in Ruby.
Cool. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Need a job. Anybody not pleased with their current job and want another one, or need one?
Yeah. I'm Casey Donlin. I'm currently unemployed. I have about 5 years experience doing diagnostics and performance analysis on the Linux kernel. Lots of kernel internals experience, virtual memory tuning, experience hacking on the kernel code itself, view upstream patches. And I'm looking to get into a development position doing just about anything open source.
Any particular languages or?
I know C, I know Python, decent with Ruby, bit of C++.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Java if I really can't help it.
The man's desperate, okay. Anyone else want to apply for something? All right. Tonight's meeting is being sponsored by Bandwidth. Would you like to come down? For which we are profoundly grateful. Please welcome you. Thank them for the pizza and sodas you so readily imbibe.
Hey, we're with the recruiting team at Bandwidth, and so we just kind of wanted to sponsor and get out there and meet new people and network with everyone. So we're right here on Centennial campus. We've been on Centennial for about 2 years. We've been around for about 15 at this point. We're a telecommunications company trying to be more innovative in the industry, and so doing a lot of cool work in different technology. Also run the company Republic Wireless as well, if you're familiar with that company.
How many of y'all heard of Republic?
Yay! Yeah.
Okay, good.
How many have a Republic phone? Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Yeah. And so we are looking for a lot of different positions at this point in time, trying to fill these positions. Linux sysadmin. We also have some DevOps engineers opportunities. We have an Android framework developer looking for Linux hacking skills, kind of all across the board. Even if you know of anybody not in the technical space but is interested in being in a cool technology company, we'd love to talk to them. So feel free to kind of reach out to us at the end. We'll leave some of our
to our pamphlets. It has our career page on here where you can go, and all of our positions are listed. We probably update this on a weekly basis. Also, I'm Allison Clayton. I'm the recruiting manager, and this is Mandy Roberts, and she heads up our technical team. But yeah, you can go on here and see any open positions. We have positions ranging from operations to marketing to obviously more on the networking side to engineering, software developers. So I think total we have about 22 to 25 positions open. So if you go on here, it goes directly to our website, and our managers get the first look at all applications. We'll also leave up here, I'll go up there and get some of my cards, and I'll leave my cards out if you guys want to take those, and we'll have my direct email address as well as phone numbers. So. Okay. Any questions? And anything that you guys want to ask us will be in the back. We actually have one of our guys here tonight. If you want to wave your hand. So if you have any questions, more specifically about the technology, feel free to ask him as well.
About how many people do you have?
We have about a little over 400 at this point.
Yeah, we're a privately held company, so about 400. We have our main location here on Centennial campus. We're in Venture 3 building. We also have a small location out in Denver. We have a small presence in California and in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
Do you want to summarize what bandwidth.com is all about? What do they?
Sure.
What do you do?
You can go.
Okay, so yeah, we're a telecommunications company. We provide voice over IP solutions for businesses.
Google,
so yeah.
Skype, Pandora, Living Social, we support their voice network.
So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And then, so support them through our nationwide infrastructure there. And then as well on the Republic Wireless side, do more with business to consumer, where we offer low-cost cell phone services to consumers by providing more of a hybrid technology. So our phone is 100% Wi-Fi, and then when you step outside of that Wi-Fi network, that's when your cellular data plan comes in. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So much lower cost prices. Any other questions? So yeah, we'll be happy to talk to you guys afterwards.
We'll leave these up here, and then we'll have our cards just in the back if you guys want to pick them up. Thank you.
Thank you. So, we're doing lightning talks tonight. We've got quite a load of them. So, without further ado, let's welcome John Delaney. He's going to talk to us about Door.next. John, you need to plug in.
VGA. Right, that's the one that's currently plugged into.
That would be why I couldn't find it.
Do we have a timer?
Yes.
A big stick?
No.
Big stick?
I didn't grab my big stick.
Big shepherd's crook. Who's on deck? We could announce who's on deck.
Yes. Next up will be Sebastian with how to host your own Dropbox GCon decks. So, Sebastian, can you raise your hand? All right. Feel good. Yeah.
It is tentative.
What's that?
There's some technical difficulties.
The curse of the demo is risen.
That's why we good. Get it out of the way now.
This is. Oh. Okay, this is. First,
again, the lightning talk about how to connect to Wi-Fi networks.
It's just sad that in 2014 we need that kind of a.
Val's got to do the slides on the fly.
Do the resume one.
All right, so my name is John Delaney. I'm with the Fedora project. I'm here to talk about Fedora.next, which is coming in Fedora 21, that's Fedora 21 is currently pre-alpha. It actually just slipped by a week due to open blocker bugs. So I can't tell you when alpha is going to be released yet because there's a lot of them. So a couple years ago, Matt Miller presented the idea of basically having a layered Fedora. So you have your core Fedora, your base OS, and then you can layer things on top of that. And this evolved to the idea of having various working groups that each work on a different part of Fedora. And some of those working groups have products. For instance, the base OS working group does, like I said, the core OS. They maintain about 100 or so packages, and their big project right now is getting it to be completely self-hosting. So those 100 or so packages should be able to build those 100 or so packages. And it's turning out there's a lot of build depths that are not actually that necessary. So those are getting weeded out. Environment and Stacks is another working group that focuses more on emerging technologies, works on the Python stack, the Ruby stack, various stacks like that. And any cool thing that comes along is probably going to wind up in Environment and Stacks first, and then move out from there to the other working groups. The Cloud working group does a very minimal cloud image as their product. Server is focused on various, obviously, servers. They have some really cool things coming out that you might want to check out. For instance, they have basically we're working on quick deployments of, say, databases or things of that nature. And then the desktop working group focuses on the desktop environment. Like I said, products. The cloud product is designed to be extremely small. It's focused on Amazon EC2, but there's also, you can also drop a QCount OpenStack or Rev, for instance, or any kind of virtualization technology. It's a ready to go image. The server product focused on servers, quick deployments of different technologies. And desktop, there's a desktop product focused on GNOME, and in the works there's a product focused on KDE. That should be landing in Fedora 22 or so. And base OS is essentially, like I said, the core of the operating system. So, any more questions?
Significant overlap between the different working groups, like one person in 3 different groups, or are there?
So the working groups have committees directing them, and there's not too much overlap between the individual committees. But you can, you can still be a member of a couple of working groups.
Cool. Does this affect anything with the groups that do the spins?
That's like, for instance, the KDE spin is being promoted to a working, kind of like a half of the desktop working group. There's still some debate within the Fedora community as to the fate of the rest of the spins.
Can you expand a little bit on what is meant by self-hosting?
The base OS should be able to build itself. Like, for instance, you shouldn't require a GUI to build the kernel. But right now, if you do a young build that kernel,
be able to build another base image without any connecting online and pulling down packages or anything like that.
Everything you need to compile it is inside of it.
So these changes are just organizational, or when I, inside my Fedora OS, will I see some revisions for working?
When you go to the download page, when Fedora 21 Alpha ships, you will see you can download the desktop, server, cloud, or just the base. Anything else?
Yeah, with the different working groups, are you looking at splitting out the release times? Because right now you're doing a complete release like Fedora 21. Are you going to split it out so that you have the core release at this time and maybe the desktop applications released at a different schedule?
There was some talk about that, and it was decided to not do that, at least for the short term, due to load on the QA team, which I'm a member of, so. But as it is now, it's difficult to get the release tested in a timely fashion anyway. And if we have we have different things landing at different times, it would dramatically increase the workload. Thank you.
All right, still having some technical difficulties, so we're going to move on to the next one. Yep. Scott with Lily. Yes. Whoever you are.
Brian, can you grab that chalkboard? No, it's a chalkboard.
I'm sorry.
Just rub the backboard out, because it's on the background of everything.
Wow.
All right. Thanks for bearing with me.
Can you lower the lights at the front of the room a little bit, or is that good question?
Great. All right. Thank you. Much better. My name is Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
How's it going? And I've got a blog, scottlinux.com. You can actually go there right now and download the demo files I'm playing with, and subscribe and tell all your friends about it. So this is a quick talk about LilyPond, and I'm also run the server at lilybin.com, which is a LilyPond paste bin. All right. So what is LilyPond? It is an open source music engraving app. So it's very similar to, if you've ever seen LaTeX used for document preparation or fancy computer science papers and things like that. So it's very similar. You put in a syntax just in a text file, and then you run, in LilyPond's case, LilyPond, my file name, and it spits out a PDF. It can also output SVG, EPS, and a whole bunch of other things. So I'll show some examples in just 1 second. So one thing that's always asked is like, well, how does it compare to blank, the commercial products? So obviously Sibelius and Finale are very popular. So this is same score done in Finale 2014C, which is the current version of Finale. And I don't know if you can see it on the screen there so well, but we're highlighted. Some things aren't quite right. I mean, you don't have to be a musician to see this. There's some notes that are covering each other. It looks horrible. And you give the same notes to LilyPond, and it just does it perfectly. Everything's evenly spaced. It's just wonderful. Put down in, this is a current version of Sibelius. And it does a little better than Finale as far as collisions, but there's still stuff covering each other and things aren't spaced right. And of course, in these programs you can go and arrange everything and fix it all. But Lily Pond, everything's just, comes out great. So I'll show you. There we go. So there's an app called Fresco Baldi. It's an open source app on GitHub. And it's basically like an IDE for Lily Pond. This is what I use, a lot of people use. And you type in the syntax on the left, and then it will update on the right. It's not real time, because it has to do its thing. But this is kind of it has some autocomplete stuff, just like an IDE would. So you can like type in your stuff and see it on the right. Back to my screen. So that's Fresco Baldi. So if you're using Lily Pond, you're pretty much using this app like everyone is. It just makes things a lot easier. I'll skip on past this, but yeah, music XML is seen as an interchangeable music format for notation programs. You can export from Sibelius, Finale, and this, and so forth. So Lily Pond can import this. That's a good way to get started in Lily Pond. If you have existing music, just dump it out, run that command, put that in Lily Pond. All right, so it's going to be a quick demo. My wife plays in a string quartet, trianglestringquartet.com. If you have a wedding or occasion come up soon. And so I'm often tasked for arranging stuff for them. So again, there's no audio for this. We're not going to listen to anything. It's just the score. So I did this in Lily Pond. I have several different files. One is where I put my notes. And at the very top here, I've got violin 1 notes. And then these are just 1 measure, 2 measure, 3 measure, measure by measure. It's all the violin notes. Violin 2 notes. And you just put them in, and there's dynamics or and so forth. So that's in that file. So here's where my main score, when I'm going to produce a score, I've got my title, composer, arranger, date, stuff like that. I'm saying include my notes. And then for my score, I just say, okay, staff called violin 1, put the notes in here. Violin 2, viola, cello, and make a score. It's all going to make sense in just a second. And then for the parts, so I already have the parts, I already have the notes in there. So the violin 1 part, same thing, except I only want a staff with violin 1. So I don't have to type in those notes again. And so that is, let's see here. That produces the score in Lily Pond. And again, I didn't, if you do this in Sibelius or Finale, after you get the notes in, you'll spend a lot more time squeezing and adjusting every little thing. I didn't touch one thing with this. I just said, put in the notes, put in some dynamics, go. And everything comes out great. And then the parts as well. Here's where I just told it, just do violin 2 notes. It makes a part, and I give for the instrument, violins to play separate from the score. So that is super quick lightning talk. And of course, feel free to reach out to me later or offline if you're interested in this more. I'm glad to talk to you. Thanks.
Stanley Carmenito for sketching diagrams. I even got close to your name.
You did. You got it right.
Awesome. While he's setting up, applause for Scott. Did anybody have any questions for Scott?
Scott, I have a question for you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, questions.
That's okay. I kind of chased you off, so you're not.
How is the program with aleatoric or 20th century graphics score notation? Before I get into that,
It does well. That takes a lot more time.
I figured it would. I'm
Yeah.
curious. But does latex lend itself?
If you're doing something more than just notes, it's going to take time. I mean, it can do, we want some big blue arrow coming around here, and it can do that. You really have to spend a lot of time.
There's a thing called MUSI Tech, and it's the precursor.
The IDE program that you mentioned, people reported working well on other platforms besides Linux?
Oh yeah, it's Mac, Windows, and Linux. It's a Qt app. The developer writes it on a Mac, but it works in Linux. I'll check on that.
Scott, question for you. Have you found a good way to convert MIDI into
you can import MIDI as well, but then you have to do some manual fixes and then do the text off.
It's related to Rose Garden. Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah, Rose Garden will export to Lily Pond.
So Rose Garden will read
gooey
MIDI
thing.
files.
It's so sticky. The Beverly Strokes. Second.
No, serving a regular serving the certification authority with normally signed or returning. It has to do with the word Colgan did something wrong.
Yes.
Oh,
okay. All right. Just have to pen this. Okay. So USB stick.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the next one and get that set up in the meantime, and then come back to it. So, right. Next is Wayne Chandler. Finger. On his way.
You should give him an email.
Yes, we will.
Oh, I should.
You guys want to do sharing the screen on the?
No. I just tried that.
Okay.
Oh. I think we figured it out. There's an input selector. Yeah. Okay.
Does anybody remember my talk from last year about Pinger? Yeah. Alright, so that was a piece of crap. And so I rewrote it, probably about 70% of the way. I reused about 30% of the code that was in there. But anyways, this is the new guy. I'm going to be talking about it. A little bit about me, I'm a lazy sysadmin. Tech. And so I needed something to make my life easier, so whenever somebody calls up and says, hey, this classroom isn't working, I can load up all of our switches on here and be like, oh, switch is fine, it's not my issue, and I can get somebody else. So that was my goal of this entire thing. And you know, there's a lot of other monitoring solutions out there, but I don't know. I can do it myself, so why not? You know, it's full of bugs and everything. But anyways, so I'm gonna try to show you guys how to get set up real quickly on a DigitalOcean droplet, so that way you can run it yourself. So, if anybody sees this right here, you know, I can give you guys 2 free months basically, because you can get it for $5 a month. So if you want to try for 2 free months, just let me know. I'll send you a referral code. But all right, so first things first.
And then you get 5 months for free.
Yeah, it'll, yeah.
Yeah. That's what's up.
Demo. Set up for the cheap one. I'm gonna do it in Fedora because I know that that's working. Should work in. I got it also working on Ubuntu, but I don't remember all the steps I did to do that. So let's create a droplet. If you're not familiar with this DigitalOcean, it's just a cheap VPS provider. It's all virtual crap. It's been pretty reliable for me. They're kind of small, but kind of big still. It's like you can kind of hear them griping about some stupid stuff like DDoSs that they haven't figured out how to mitigate on their network. So they're pretty open about that sort of stuff, so I kind of like it. It's real fast, right?
Better than Amazon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was my main thing. I got sick of dealing with Amazon's crap. Just to spin up a virtual machine, you have to know how to do it. Alright, so let's move over here. Whoop. Oh. Copy. Oh, hey, sweet. Nope, of course you're not. Alright, so I'll go to my cheat sheet here. I got all the steps right here. So, you don't need Git, but I'm too lazy to know how to do the unzip properly.
Can you make the channel? Can you make the channel
moving
funky?
folders like 3 times around? I'll just
Can you control shift plus that?
Yeah, I can make that bigger.
Oh, you want to actually see this thing?
Yeah.
All right, Control Shift plus. Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the brand new droplet that we just created, so it'll take a little bit of time. Dependencies for Git there.
Whoa. Emphatically.
Well, I won't be able to show you my work environment. That's okay. So the next step was firewall. Let's see into
So it's a PHP application?
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to make this thing stupid. So let's go here.
Chose the web technology. Yeah, try a subdirectory.
Yep. So let's type in Swamp. Oh yeah. Swamp is the name of it. Alright. And then click on demo. And that's that's it running from that droplet that we just created after getting on the top. So that's how easy it is to get set up. A little bit about this thing. I try to be as descriptive as I could in the README. It's instance based, so every single time that you have it loaded in a tab, it's doing the checks. So like right now we have it running in 2 different tabs, but it's on 2 different servers. But if I had it running on 2 different tabs on the same server, you could get 2 different results if it wasn't responding to a ping on one, but it responded to the ping on the other. You can also set the timeout values. So like right now, I was trying to get stuff to fail, so I set it to just 1 second timeouts. And usually the Tata networks will go down, but it hasn't, I guess. That's a shame. Yeah, all right. Okay, so anyways, let's go back to it's passive. I don't really know why I said that. That doesn't make sense. Maybe because it doesn't really do anything. I don't know. That's a bullet point.
It doesn't require an agent.
So well, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. I like that. It's stupid. That was the main point of it. Everything out there seemed to be really smart, and you actually had to like read documentation in order to get it running. This right here, seriously, you know, those 5 commands that were run, and it's running. So then you can actually start plowing into it, looking at the configs and all that stuff, and try to figure out how it's working. I guess that's about it. Stuff will break. I actually haven't seen it break yet, so I'm really surprised. So I encourage every one of you to download this and break it and fill out bug reports or whatever, so I can try to make it better. And let me try one more time to see if I can log in. Fine. Oh well. It would have looked cool. But anyways, yeah. All right, there you go.
What's your network definition look like?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. All right, so let's look at some of the configs.
What?
It's just XML.
My eyes went right.
Oh. Is there a way to turn syntax on with regular BI?
Can you go to your local machine?
Actually,
probably not a good idea to show that one.
Generator.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so thought about doing it in YAML, but I don't know. I like XML. I'm probably like the only guy who does. Real quickly, key. That's actually something that you can set in there. So like a key could be super awesome key, and then you would just pass it up here after your conf. So you would say like key is equal to super awesome, whatever. And then, but since we don't have it set up like that way, it won't load. So in your config file, you can actually set the key, and then if you send it to somebody and you decide, hey, I don't like you anymore, and then all you got to do is change it in the config, and if he had it bookmarked, it wouldn't load up.
Yeah, it's probably want to use an ampersand rather than a question mark between these.
Oh, you think so?
That's the normal HTTP.
Yeah, oh, hey, yeah, there we go. Actually, I coded that in. Imagine that. All right. Yeah. So. And then secret is another way of doing it from the server side. So like you could put a secret in the config file, and then since you're controlling that server that it's running on, you could set the file or whatever in there and then disable it. That's not working yet. It'd be, yeah, TBD. It'll probably be there for another year or two. Shows IP. That's if you want to turn it off, like so that way it just says the host name instead of the host name and IP address. Show host name gets rid of the host name, obviously. Show port. It's because some people on my team don't know that 80 is HTTP, so they say, oh, you know, HTTP isn't working, so here you go. Anyways, so that's what that'll do. Show brand. This thing used to be called Murmur, and I thought that was really stupid, so I changed it so that way it would say like whatever the name was up there, and then I changed the name from Murmur, so now I don't know what to do about that. Whatever. Timeout, that's the default timeout value.
How do you specify a host?
Timeout.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there.
No.
Okay. Frequency.
The lightning timeout.
So, okay. So here's the ordering.
Okay, there's nodes. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Just nodes like that.
All right.
So and then the port check, and that's how you do the port checks. Okay. Are you happy now?
Anybody have questions for Wayne when we get the next speakers? We think we might.
What scale of network is
well, that's why I wanted to show you my work network. I have a little over 2,000 nodes, and it's running on a 1-core VM on Hyper-V with 500 megs of RAM. So I have yet to see it fail, so I don't really know how hard it can scale up. So.
Just designed for ping testing, or is it doing more than that?
Well, it does a ping, and it'll also do a port check. So those two things. The plan is to eventually get the port check a little bit more advanced, so that way you can do like on HTTP, you could check see if you get a 200 return, or if you get 404 or whatever. Yeah, whatever. So, any more?
How difficult would it be to like put in notifications, or is that like another level?
Well, that was the one thing I was struggling with because I couldn't figure out how to do that from a UI perspective. So, like, do you want just like a pop-up on that page, or do you want actual notifications like an SMS notification or something like that?
Email.
I thought about that too, but because of the way that it's running, because it's passive, I guess, and instance-based, you would have to have it running somewhere in order for it to actually do the check. But you know, you could daemonize it and then have it be running constantly in the background. But if you're getting that far advanced, you're beyond the scope of the thing. You know, just run like Zabbix or Xenos or Nagios. So. Any more questions?
Thank you. We finally worked out the issues. We forgot to hit the 18 button.
Hi everyone, my name is Stanley, and I'll be presenting my attempt on simplifying drawing computer network diagrams. So who am I? I'm a computer network professional since 2000, and I currently have a huge interest in learning JavaScript. Node.js, I picked it up last year, beginning of this year, and also huge interest in vector graphing. I just think it's cool. I started playing with something called d3.js, and I haven't stopped playing with it. So currently, I thought I could use these new skills that I'm learning in JavaScript to solve this problem that's been nagging since I became a network professional, that is drawing network diagrams. So I began to think about, okay, what are the ways to draw network diagrams? Well, the first is by hand. That's the easiest, right? Using Visio. I'm sure some of you have done that. PowerPoint. You're too cheap to buy Visio. Lucid charts. I was really excited. I thought this would solve all my problems until I tried using it on my tablet and realized it doesn't do squat. So, what are the advantages or disadvantages of these different methods? So by hand, of course, it's quick, cheap, but it's not portable. So I can't take my diagram and put it into Visio, right? And it may be difficult to read. My diagrams are typically difficult to read, so other professionals can't read them. Using Visio. Visio is great. Diagram looks perfect. It's portable. You can, export it to different programs. You can print it out. But it has a steep learning curve. To this day, I still cannot draw a simple diagram in Visio in less than 15 minutes. A good one takes me an hour or two, or maybe even 3. The software is not cheap, and it's not convenient to use. You have to have Windows, right? You can't run it on Linux. I hate Windows, so I like to keep a VM just to run Visio, right? PowerPoint, similar advantages and disadvantages to Visio, except it's cheap. Lucid Charts. So got really excited about this. Finally, an online tool that I can use to draw my diagrams, but realized that it only seems to work well on a desktop PC. They don't really have a good mobile solution. And it also has a steep learning curve, right? You need to know where all the widgets are and everything, to draw the right thing, draw the line straight and all that good stuff. So I said, okay, if there was a perfect app, what would it be to draw network diagrams? Well, first of all, it would be portable, right? Something that I can easily print out, I can export any of these vector graphing programs, easy to read, easy to learn, it's not going to take a long time, convenient to use, so works, across tablet, phone, PC, and of course cheap, because I'm a cheap guy. So I decided to write my own project. I call it VGX. Couldn't figure out anything else, so that's what it is right now. And it's currently in pre-alpha phase, so I'm going to give you a very quick demo. But I attempt to solve all the problems that I have so that I can use it. And I hope it will be useful to everyone, right? So it's written for a browser, so it should work across any platform. There's a lot of work still left to do. What I'm going to demo you is, again, pre-alpha, but it's eventually going to be touch-enabled, right? So you'll be able to drag and drop things, and it will draw pretty neat diagrams for you. So because I only have 1 minute, I just want to give you a quick demo of what I have today. And so here's what I'm able to do, because right now I'm still trying to understand how you draw things on the browser. So the way that I do it right now is I basically write out my topology. So I have switch 1, port 1, switch 2, port 2, and so on and so forth. And then when I hit graph, it goes ahead and, let me make it smaller. So when I hit graph, it goes ahead and draws the graph for me. And to determine what sits up here on top, I basically have a parameter called a root switch parameter. I haven't found a better name for it. But basically, I can decide who the top of the tree is and basically draw stuff out. So I'm currently trying to just figure out how to draw the basic stuff first before I start doing the actual, drag and drop and all the cool wizardry that you can do in browsers. And this has been totally fun. It's written in Node, and I've been having a ball and a blast. So the website's vgx.io. Give it a try if you ever need to make a quick, simple network diagram, just a couple of nodes. I've actually put up to 50 nodes in here, and it's outputted something. It's great. And then you can save it as a SVG, export it to your Visio, and finish your diagram. I have a reference. You can follow my progress on Twitter at VGX. And this talk is on my GitHub.
We can add that to the TriLUG page.
Sure.
Great. Yeah, perfect. Any questions?
Yeah.
While we're getting set up.
So you said you put in 50 nodes and it outputs something. Was that something which you expected it to output? You never said that part.
Yes, it was. It was actually a customer's topology. So because I'm a troubleshooter, and basically customers can send us their topology in something called dot notation, which is a GraphViz format. And I put it in this tool because it takes dot notation. And out I had his topology. I was so amazed. I was like, oh my God, it actually works. Yeah.
Next. Right. So.
Can you make it any smaller so it all fits?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Feel sweet.
Good. All right. More on open source status updates.
Okay, so how many of you signed up for Identica several years ago? Okay, I expected more of you. Oh, wow, okay. Well, so those of you who didn't sign up won't have to migrate to the new one. But, so that was basically an open source Twitter, effectively. But it was built on status.net, which has now sort of been subsumed by News Social. And the cool thing about it, other than being open source, is that it's distributed. So basically you can install your own server and then interact with federated servers, all over the world, which is pretty darn cool. So this was written by Evan Prodromou, and it's definitely nifty, but the problem is that it's written in PHP. So that kept me from installing it and trying it out. But basically the federation is based on the O-status protocol, which is a whole bunch of other things, including hub-sub-hubbub, which not surprisingly, is shortened to push. So it pushes posts to all the sites. And webfinger, which was actually named after the original command, which basically links identities throughout the network. And so one example of this is if you want to follow someone on another server, you can go to that server and then use your server's address and follow it from your own server, or follow that person from your own server, which is cool. And then Salmon, which is named after sort of going down the stream in the wrong way, is how comments are sent back to the original host, which is cool. And there are a bunch of other things that all fall under O-status. So Pump.io, I have it written incorrectly here. So Identica, that original Identica, is now been replaced by Pump.io. It's not that Pump.io used to be Identica. Well, it did. But Pump.io effectively replaces status.net. It was written by the same person. But it's now written in Node.js. And I tried installing it, and it's fairly easy to install, but there are now Debian packages being written for it, or packaged for it. There is an IRC channel, so you can get help when you're installing it. And there's at least one person on there that's helpful. Probably more, but only one that was paying attention. So I tried installing it on my Debian install on Linode, and you can actually go there and try it out. Sure. But you're all welcome to do this too if you just go to, yeah, you'll have to accept the certificate. Yep. Okay, and you could log in. But you all can register for a new account and play with it. It's not going to be there forever because you're going to my Linode, and I assume I'll do other things with that at some point. But be sure to have HTTPS. But otherwise, that's about it. Do you have any questions?
So if you set up an identity on this server and it's federated with all these other servers, does your identity migrate to all these other servers even after you've decided to use this server for some other experiment?
I think so. I mean, the pushing seems to happen through when you do things. Like when you post something, it'll get pushed out by the hub-sub-hub. And so I don't think that necessarily lingers.
So it's kind of like Jabber, where you've got your username at domain.
Exactly. Right. So, and when you register for this, I don't think I have it quite configured correctly. So when I tried to go to another server and use my server to follow someone, it didn't work. But my guess is that it might work on some number of other servers, and I might get it working eventually too. So you might be surprised eventually. But I believe that it does work for some.
Yeah, if it works anything like staff I met did way back when I still used it. I did follow several accounts on federated servers just for the cool factor of doing it. But then whenever those servers, with the way of the dinosaur, so did my accounts on them.
So the problem is, like with any social network, it's only going to be useful if you know people who use it, or there are people with whom you might want to communicate. So if you get a bunch of people together for working on a particular project or something like that, you're going to find yourself using it. If you don't know anyone at all, you're probably not.
That's a good lead into my question, which is, are there existing plugins, for lack of a better term, for using the APIs of the existing walled gardens, like Twitter?
Yes. So yeah, you can.
You could dump your
Twitter.
content out to Twitter or pull in from Twitter, for example.
Exactly. So, and also there are other plugins that are, games and all sorts of utilities that you can plug into this too.
So if I want to be yelled at by 13-year-olds in real time while playing a game.
Yes.
Cool.
I assume 13-year-olds use this, but I don't know.
We're good. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Next up, we're doing FIO. Got it? Wayne Sims. What kind of connection do you have?
It makes you better. Shiny.
That's hard.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about FIO. FIO is the flexible I/O tester. It was written by Jens Axbo. Jens used to work for my company. I did work for Fusion I/O. We just got acquired by SanDisk here a while back. But Jens has actually moved on to our biggest customer, which is this little outfit called Facebook. You might have heard of. The current release of the product is 2.1.10. It's GPL under the version 2. It runs on lots of platforms. It was originally developed for Linux, and there's the place to go find it if you want to go take a look. What is it for? Well, we use it a lot for benchmarking. My company does a lot of high-speed storage devices based on Flash, so we use it quite a bit for benchmarking, for stress testing. It's really good for loading up a system and getting it up to full power usage, and for checking out thermals and things like that. So we use a lot to put stress on a machine and put stress on the I/O subsystem. QA groups use it quite a bit as well, so that it gets used for that. And right there is Jens' own idea. It's written to enable flexible testing of the Linux I/O subsystem, and that's what Jens actually does. He's one of the maintainers of the I/O subsystem in Linux. So this is his baby, and he wrote it, and it's a very active project. So it stays up to date all the time. Just a few tips that you might want to run if you start to try to use this. One, especially if you're on an RPM-based system, you want to make sure you get libaio, which is the asynchronous kernel I/O piece. This is the part that allows FIO to actually have multiple I/Os stacked up and ready to run. It gives you that engine to be able to use. So you want to make sure to get those. It seems to be better in the Ubuntu, the Debian-based systems. When you pull it in, it already grabs that engine and brings it in. But I know I have to install this on Red Hat and SUSE all the time, and going off and finding those packages is something I have to do first all the time. So just be aware if you go to play with it. Also, be careful. You could find yourself just destroying a system in just a matter of seconds if you do something a little bit wrong, because it will wipe out a disk in a hurry, depending on how you do it. So, you know, as something I heard a long time ago, power tools can injure. This is a power tool, so you know it's good for cutting down trees, and it also will whack off limbs, you know, right here. So just be really careful with it when you start to go to play with it. But it's a kind of a neat thing. So with no further ado, we'll just go do a quick demo here, and we'll see if we can make this work.
What's this button? There's an exit down.
Yeah. Come back to me. There we go. Oh, that is really difficult.
So just for
There.
some context, if I'm used to using Bonnie++, this is maybe a thing I should look at?
Say again?
Bonnie++?
I have not heard of that one. You'll have to tell me about that. The most common one we see, especially in the Windows world, the other one that you'll run into a lot is Iometer. You may have ever seen Iometer. Yep. I actually use Iometer quite a bit when running on Windows. FiO is available for Windows, and it works fine. But one thing I like about Iometer is it gives me lots of nice cool graphics. And so if I'm at a trade show or something, I can actually see the little bars go back and forth. And for the trade show attendees, they get to take a look at it. Yes, sir.
Can you make the font bigger?
I will do my best.
Control-Shift+. Control-Shift+ will do it.
I don't know this keyboard very well. There we go. Cool. So let's take, set up over here. So let's take a quick look at, this is one of the files that you use to set it up. So this is a basic config file for FiO.
Biggerize that one.
You can plus that one.
Can I plus that up? Is that better?
Yes.
Good deal? Okay. So we can see here we're actually working in 4K block size. We're going to use the asynchronous kernel I/O engine there. We're going to have an I/O depth of 4, basically, so we're going to stack up 4 I/Os behind this thing. This particular job is going to be, completely a write job, so it's going to do sequential writes. And the Stonewall thing is there in case if you have multiple jobs in the same one, it'll basically say cut them off one at a time. So let's just run one quick one here. Let's see. I didn't get it, I'm sorry.
Out the tab.
There we go. We'll run that one instead. So basically, it'll sit there and start its run, and there's a ton of output that comes out of this thing, as you can see. The part that you're really interested in, boy, this is navigating this thing is tough. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, if anybody wants to see more, I'll show you in a minute because I can't figure out how to do this from doing this angle here. But what you're really looking for is IOPS and latency, and those are the two things that will actually come up here on the screen, and you can actually see how they go. But there's tons of stuff out there on the net about it. Lots of sample jobs, and it's just a really good tool for if you need to test an I/O subsystem especially. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Does anybody have questions for me while Michael gets set up? Yes.
So this is any file system, including SAN file systems?
Pretty much anything that you can get to, yeah, absolutely.
So you stress test.
You can stress test. We typically stress test just block file systems with it, but you can actually write to files, or you can write to block I/O. Either way. So good for doing both. Anything else?
Anybody else?
See me afterwards. I'm hanging around.
All right.
Just in case you're actually local, this was not bad.
No, you can crash all your disks.
We didn't need all 10 terabytes.
Next up is Michael Hivnak with KeyPassX.
Hello, so this is KeyPassX. It's a password manager. Question already? Even? Or we're gonna lose the logo. It's not that important. It's keypassx.org. It's K-E-E, you can see the spelling up there. Essentially, so it's an open source password manager. If you're familiar with LastPass, this is an open source alternative to that you would self-host. And it's just a fantastic way to manage your credentials for all the websites and other services that you log into. So you can store a unique and extremely strong password with your username in a secure place that you don't have to remember off the top of your head. So the best way to learn about this is I'll just show it to you. So let's start by going through a normal workflow of, here's a website that I'm going to log into. Incidentally, this is a WordPress that's running in a Docker container that just a couple hours ago I need an app that I can log into and create users for a demo. I bet somebody made a Docker image that does it. Sure enough, they did. It was just stupid easy. So I need to log into this. I don't remember what my credentials and stuff are. So here comes KeyPassX. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to open up my database, my demo file, and this is the key. This is the one and the only password you have to remember. So make it a good one, because this password is what the rest of your passwords hide behind.
Don't forget it or it's gone.
And don't forget it, that's right.
It's TriLUG.
And you probably don't want to put your email password in here. Keep that one in your head too, because that's how you can recover all the other passwords. In any case, I chose TriLUG.
Bob returns.
So, yeah. So I have only one set of credentials here. In my real one, I have a big long list, because it's every bank and social media and everything I've ever logged into. So here, I can switch back and forth, and I'm just going to hit Control-V right now, and it just zing, just populated my credentials, hit enter, and now I'm logged in. Super duper easy. So let's go through, I'll log out, and let's just also look at the exercise of adding a user.
Wait, where was your focus when you did that Control-V? Because that makes me super nervous that, like, I have my focus in an IRC window.
Yeah, there is that. So that's a real, I've been there. I did do that. So it will literally just Alt-Tab. So it'll just go back to the last window you had focus. So I have focus here.
Okay.
Now I'm on KeyPass, it'll just Alt-Tab. But nice thing is it's a crazy long password. You can go change it real fast. This makes it really easy. And hopefully nobody knows what service that's your credentials to.
And that's why you use Control-V and not Control-Shift.
Yeah, you could just manually do stuff.
You might want to set your Jabber client to not pop new conversation.
Okay, so I'm going to add a user to this brand new WordPress, and we'll see what that looks like. All right, so it's password time. So KeyPassX is going to help me generate a nice secure password. I'm sorry I don't know how to make this one bigger. So I'm storing my username here. I can store a URL. So other things, I could tell it to go straight to a URL from here and then enter the credentials. Right now I'm going to generate a new password. There's lots of stuff, knobs you can turn. You can how long a password you want. You can turn on and off different types of characters. It's going to look alike. A lot of bells and whistles. But in any case, we're just going to roll with this. I know that WordPress won't take backslashes, so we'll keep trying. That looks like a good one.
That's a shame.
I know, I can't imagine why. So I'm just going to populate that. WordPress agrees that this is a strong password. So there it is. So it accepted it, so I'm going to accept it. and that's now there. We can look at it. I could add comments here. Some people like to put in here, like for your bank, the last, what's your mother's maiden name, your first pet's name, that kind of stuff. You put that here in case you forget, or make those up. Don't actually put legitimate real life answers, just make them up.
Hey, Michael?
Yep.
It's also worth noting they've got a space for the URL there.
Yep.
And that's kind of useful because a lot of places don't use like a real obvious URL. They'll be like yourfriendlybank.com.
Yeah.
And then it keeps you from going to some phishing site that's named, like myfriendlybank.com. So it's just close enough. So.
Yeah, it's really true. It's a great point.
So how do the apps work? Like I tried this on Android and it sucked.
KeyPass X doesn't run on Android, but there are a couple of options. There's one that I like a lot. I can't remember the name of it, but we can look at it on my phone when we're done.
Okay.
One other quick note is I use Dropbox to keep it in sync across different systems, including my phone. It's extremely seamless, works great. I never have to think about it. I have a friend who uses OwnCloud actually to do the same thing. So then you have to post something. So that's basically it. Oh, and this is version 2.0 alpha of something of KeyPass X. So I had to compile it myself, but it seems very stable and it works great. Okay, questions? End of it.
What is the relation between KeyPass X and KeyPass?
KeyPass, I believe, is a maybe non-free, but I'm not sure about that. But I think Windows only.
I believe it's free, but it's written in C#.
Okay, so Windows only.
I think it
works well on Linux.
Does it work in mono? Okay, but you need mono.
This is C++ with Qt.
This is cross-platform, GPL on GitHub.
Well, I have KeyPass in my Windows, and I have KeyPass X in my Ubuntu.
Okay.
And they're going to the same database.
Yeah, this will read the same format database. Yep.
Yeah, this only supports the older format, right?
This is why I'm on a 2.0 alpha. Because it supports the newer version as well.
So you use Dropbox to back up, so you're okay with them having your passwords?
Well, it's encrypted and I don't know. Secure enough, I guess, for me. That's more secure than having passwords that I need to remember everything.
Not to cut off the guy who's going to have to cut me the check for everything. But we've reached time, so thank you, Michael. Kevin Ott with RTL SDR. Cool. Anybody else have any questions for Michael while Kevin's getting set up?
How long does it stay on the clipboard?
It's configurable. I think the default is 10 seconds. Yeah, of course. How long does your password stay on the clipboard?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
I think it also wipes it under some conditions after you've used it.
Yeah, once you've done a control V, maybe it'll wipe again.
Well, the reason I use it at home, and periodically I'll do something stupid and want to paste the password again, and it's gone, and it's been less than a minute. So there's some other condition I think that it uses as well.
Yeah. You can also, another new feature in 2.0 is you can tie it to specific websites. So you pull up a web page and hit a magic key combination, and KeyPass X will recognize the page and put in the right key.
But I think only works under Linux.
That might be true.
Because I tried it under Windows.
All right. Thank you again, Michael. Kevin with SDR, RTL.
So, I'm not going to bore you with any slideshows, but how many people know what this is?
Hard to see that.
Hard to see, exactly. It's so tiny. But this is a software-defined receiver as I drop it. I'm just going to tempt the fates and see if we can do a live demo here. Oh, wait, remember that bag? I forgot. One good stuff. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to fire up PQRX. It's a simple app for driving this thing. And you are looking at radio spectrum. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of signal down here in this walls of this building. That would be the local radio station here on campus. So let's instead skip to some other things that we might commonly see out there. So, got a FRS radio. These are pretty common. You can get these for about $25 at your local Walmart, Target, what have you. And testing 1, 2, 3, 4, testing. And sure enough, you can see the signal in there. I hit the call button. I don't know why I'm not getting audio here.
Yeah, you had static when I first started out.
There you go. Oh, it's just very weak. Oh, I'm in wide FM, that's why. There you go. So again, common little thing, that's fine, but let's look at some other things that are wireless, but we don't necessarily think about. Any idea what that might be? Wireless entry for your car. You're sitting there scooting this. Anybody within a few meters could actually be listening to your car code as you try and get into your car.
Well, that's on an algorithm anyway.
Well, there's an algorithm, but apparently it is cryptographically weak.
Yeah.
So let's look at something else.
There's a black hat
Garage door opener. They've got one of these in their car, to get the house, whatever. And so you're sending that from half a neighborhood away, and you open your door, and somebody else might be listening and might want to open your door too. And finally, we'll have some fun with some other folk. We get one of these. The remote transmitter for a kid's remote control car. You can control your neighborhood kitties. So again, this tool is called GQRX. That's just one of the very simple receivers. There are some others. To get this thing, I got mine from Adafruit.
Notice on the right.
What's this?
$22.50.
Yeah.
In stock.
Plus shipping, yeah, about $25. You too can have one of these. You can go all over the spectrum and see what all's out there. I included the URL for the other software in the presentation notes, but like I said, if you're running one of the Ubuntu's, GQRX-SDR is the name of the package. Install it, it brings it all straight down. If you want to do some just receiving of a straight audio like the initial FRS demo, there is a command line tool called RTL_FM, and it will just be able, you can pipe that to the sound card or to another application. In my case, I pipe it to something called DSD, Digital Speech Decoder. You see I've got my amateur radio, but a lot of the public service ones are all digital now. So you'll need yet another tool to be able to decode the digital stuff, but that's also something you can do.
What kind of antenna connector is that?
It's called an MCX connector. There are, if you go on Adafruit or some other ones, you can get MCX to either BNC or SMA if you want to get up to a better antenna. Yeah, I've just got this. This is what ships with it.
I have a much larger antenna at my house.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to do any serious receiving, I got to order mine yet, but yeah, you can put it on the outside antenna.
Yeah, I've got a 30-foot antenna.
Which now?
I've got a 30-foot antenna.
Okay, yeah, for like the HF band type stuff.
Have you played with the new radio?
GQRX is dependent on new radio. I haven't gotten down to the deep building blocks yet. Most of what I've been doing is just RTL-FM and then piping that into other things like the SD.
Any other questions for Kevin while Michael? Mike Rulison is going to talk to us about Skype. What kind of interface do you need? No?
Document. You need to get the document thing done.
It's all right.
Can you use it?
For the moment.
Okay.
Look,
I want to show you guys, the younger people may not recognize this, but there was something called a cell phone or a mobile phone at one time, and this is a dumb one. It costs me, but it's cheap. It costs me $20 every 3 months, or $80 a year, but it costs me 20 cents a minute for incoming and outgoing calls. Okay, end of Exhibit 1. Description of Problem 1. I was away from home. I was using this archaeological artifact to call from one state to another, a distance of 150 miles. And I was trying to call around town when I was away from my motel room. And I put in a $20 upgrade to my account and used it up in 3 or 4 days. Then I got home and I got smart. I had this with me and I looked up Skype, and lo and behold, they said, if you will just give us $3 a month, or $8.52 for 3 months with a little discount, we will let you make unlimited calls in the United States for the month, 3 months. So I went to work and I've used up probably $50 or $100 of this thing for $3. My first month isn't up. And I've got all sorts of things here. This is recent calls, favorites. Down here is people. And there they are. Alphabetical, people. And you just pick one and you can dial. I think I will try something called TriLUG. It's trying. And if it gets through, the ring will change to a different tone. And then,
Is it on silent? No, we're in the bowels of the basement.
Well,
there's no radio signals.
Well, in any case, you get the idea. There's this grumpy sort of ring that goes on, and then it switches to a more normal ringtone, and you know it's actually gotten out to dial. It dials itself with an anonymous number that Skype picks out, but you can set it so it will show a phone number of your choice, which is not this thing at 20 cents a minute. It's my home phone. But when I'm away from my home phone, you know, I can even call in from this to my home phone, press the key code, and get the answering machine to report what messages are there. So I'm getting smarter. I don't know how to use this thing yet, but it's fun. And thank you much for your time.
Any questions?
Questions? No questions. Okay.
Yep. All right, now we have Lawtech War Crimes.
All right. My name's Ian. I'm a PhD student here at NC State. I study microwave engineering and RF systems, and that is not what I'm going to talk about, thank God. I want to talk about the sieve of Eratosthenes, which is a prime number finding algorithm. It's not the best, it's not the fastest, but it is very simple. And the idea is that you start, you have a big bag of numbers in order. You start the first prime number, we call that 2. And you get rid of all the multiples of 2. Right? And then you move on to the next one, which is guaranteed to be prime. In this case, it's 3. Then you get rid of all the multiples of 3, and so on. 4 is already crossed out, so you move on to 5. And what you're left with, once you go through this range of numbers, is you're left with a list of prime numbers. So now I want to talk about LaTeX, which is great. You can use it to write papers. That's the thing you should use LaTeX for. It separates content from layouts. You don't have to care about things like where do my figures go. It just does all that stuff for you, and you concentrate on writing your paper. Don Knuth, which is apparently actually how you pronounce that name. The guy's a lunatic. Wrote a language or a formatting a macro system called TeX, which is the precursor to LaTeX. And he tried very, very hard to not make it a programming language, and he failed. I implemented this algorithm in LaTeX. There it is. It's very pretty. It's a beautiful programming language. You can do all sorts of things with it. It's Turing complete, right? You've got conditionals and loops and integer, or arithmetic and everything else. And so this is the result. It's a list of prime numbers. You see the ones with 1s next to them. They're prime. I check. It's true. That's cool. And I was sort of laughing maniacally at 3 in the morning last night, but I figured I can do better. And here it is. There's more code. And see, the thing is with LaTeX, it's a typesetting language. It's designed to make pretty documents. So I thought I would make a pretty document. And it turns out it's actually very well suited to creating this document that has, at each stage in the process, the internal state of this algorithm. So it's actually a really intuitive description of what's going on. And I think it's kind of neat, despite how screwed up it is. And this is the document. Oh, you're seeing the end, no spoilers. All right, there you go. Right, it's got like a title and an author and all that stuff. And you start out with this list of numbers, and you start out at 2 and get rid of all the multiples, right? And then you move on to 3 and get rid of all those multiples, and so on. And you scroll on down to the end here, and once we get to 100, we have a list of all the prime numbers. There you go.
Any questions for our war criminal? All right. Very cool. All right.
Possibly 2 more.
What's that?
In Germany.
Yeah. Jeremy?
I got one.
You do? Oh, okay. We are very short on time. So we got 10 minutes before we're supposed to physically vacate this room. So
you got 5.
What's up? I don't know.
Yeah. The question is not, you have permission, but the question is, can you? Are you capable
of? Hey, we're fine for your presentation.
Yeah, well. Some definition of fine.
Okay.
It's just been really hard for me. Yeah, it's the common problem.
By the way, this is a newsletter that I publish. It's got, I check about 100 tech groups about every 2 weeks or so, and I see if they got any events coming up. So if you're interested in going to other events, this is a good place to find what's going on. And I took it over from a guy named Harold Meter, who started it after the .com bubble. It's been around for a while. And he was looking for somebody to hand it off, so I took it over. And I use it to like get into conferences for free and stuff like that. By promoting, other people's stuff. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to talk about some of the things that have happened to me that are pretty cool since I've been involved with the Linux group. My wife hadn't killed me yet. Let's see. 2002 to 2004. Well, back up a little bit. I was in the Marine Corps from 97 to 2002. And got out and I started a business, and I joined the National Guard, and then I learned that that wasn't a very good combination. And so I deployed to Iraq 2004 to 2005, and I learned how to do email attachments and things, and went on like a more of an IT setting after that. 2008 I discovered WordPress. I when I got back from Iraq, I decided I would try to just kind of learn business stuff and continue on with my military career. So I started volunteering. I've been kind of like a serial volunteer, but I'm still, you know, National Guard full time. I got about 3 years left before I retire. So I'm doing things to prepare for when I'm done. With WordPress, I volunteered to do a lot of different things with nonprofit organizations. I learned about open source stuff, and then later on that led to me looking for this Linux community that I heard about. Found TriLUG. About the same time, I went to Southeast Linux Fest, started learning about open source philosophy. Barry Petticord introduced me to Jamendo.com. I discovered Creative Commons music, and I used to be like in a band and musician and all this stuff, so that was pretty interesting to me. And that's about all I listen to now is Creative Commons type music, because I like, you know, it's got the open philosophy behind it. I served on the TriLUG steering committee for a while, helped find speakers. Even sent an email one time to Richard Stallman. He said he wasn't going to come down here unless we changed our name to Triangle GNU Linux.
Then we'd have TriLUG for TriLUG.
We also didn't want us to call it open source software. So. And then we went on to organize Bar Camp. That was a pretty cool event. Went down to POSCON, that's Palmetto Open Source Software Conference. I met Todd Lewis. I think somewhere about that time I took over the this newsletter. I set up like a web presence for it because it was just an email. I set up a database that creates all the HTML for this stuff. I used that to help promote all things open. And a pretty cool thing happened. I invited one of my favorite Creative Commons musicians to come down to the All Things Open and speak, and he agreed. And we had OpenNMS, Taurus Balog, paid for him to come down first class and all that stuff, had a show. And he did a really good talk, and I've actually recorded it. You can find it, I think, on my YouTube channel. But then he like rocked the house. I mean, he performed at the Spy after the event, and it was just really cool. It was really inspiring. So I was inspired. Since then, I've set up like at the house, I set up like a Linux AV operating system, which is pretty nice. 1 minute? Okay. It's got some nice open source software. I've been learning about that. Recently, I sold my guitar and I sold a bike, and then I bought some speaker stuff. And now I'm studying how to build speakers and that sort of thing. This guy here, his name is Tony Andrews. He's built like boxes for Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd, all these big name bands for years, and I'm kind of studying what he's doing. But anyway, what I'm trying to do is build up like an event. I got quotes how much it would cost to rent like the Red Hat Amphitheater. It'd be cool to like eventually get maybe Creative Commons musicians in here. I've been talking to the lady that organized the Bluegrass Festival. I think they had 85,000 people show up to that. So I'm thinking might be able to start doing some events that raise a little bit of money to, you know, create like speaker boxes. It's going to be cool to have events where we do like a crowdfunding. I think I'm doing about 30 seconds. Okay. I think it'd be cool to do like crowdfunding events to raise a little money and then get together, do like a kind of like a hackathon. You know, you raise the money, get the ideas together. Might be able to design and build some open source design boxes, speaker boxes, tube amps, things like that. And then when you're done, you know, have a music event that plays, you know, Creative Commons type stuff. If you did multiple events, every time you did it, you'd have a little more PA stuff. And then with time, you'd have a lot of PA stuff, and then you could do, you know, like awareness events, like net neutrality events and things like that. And if you had enough, you could, I think $5,000 you can rent the Red Hat Amphitheater. You could do a show there. So I don't know, that's an idea. If anybody's interested in that kind of stuff, get in touch with me.
All right, folks, well, that is the end of the evening's lightning talks. We are completely out of time. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. Reminder, we're going to Bottle Wings around the corner for TriChat.
I can tell you my
if you want to join us, please do so. Thank you very much.